नाम्ने गोरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Okay. So we are reading Canto 1, Chapter 15. Pandavas retire timely. 21. Okay. तद्वै धनुस्त इषवः सरथो हयास्ते सोऽहं रथी नृपतयो तत आमनन्ति सर्वं क्षणेन तदभूदसरि सरिक्तं भस्मं तुहं कुहकराद्धमिवोक्तमुष्याम्।
I have the very same Gandiva bow, the same arrows, the same chariot drawn by the same horses, and I use them as the same Arjun to know all the kings offered their due respects, whom all the kings offered their due respects. But in the absence of Lord Krishna, all of them, at a moment's notice, have become null and void. It is exactly like offering clarified butter on ashes, accumulating money with a magic wand, or sowing seeds on barren land.
Yeah. So three analogies Arjuna is giving, that how his energies have become null and void. Like offering ghee in the ashes. Then
Accumulating money with a magic wand.
accumulating money. Means what?
Like, like, like the power of magical wand this has gone.
Okay, power has
जादू
gone
की
through.
छड़ी हाँ like
तो जादू चला गया है अभी.
हाँ जादू की छड़ी से भी पैसा नहीं आ रहा.
सो जादू का पैसा कुछ काम का नहीं होता है, क्योंकि वो उसका ही रहता है. वो ऐसा कुछ क्रिएट नहीं करता है. वो दिखता है लेकिन वो उसका ही रहता है. नहीं तो अगर वो जादू करके पैसा कमाता था तो फिर शो क्यों करता था? फिर वो फिर पैसा छपकाना चालू करता था. तो he just shows what is there already in the store. So he just so similarly the power doesn't remain, or that is not valuable. Value is not there. And third is
Sowing seeds on a barren land.
sowing seed on the barren land. It has no value. Nothing will come out. So similarly, all his power, his talent, his instruments were as valueless as these three things, like that. So he says that I have the same Gandiva bow, same arrow, same chariot, same horses, and I am the same Arjuna. But now the result is not the same. The result is different. Purport.
As we have discussed more than once, one should not be puffed up by borrowed plumes. All energies and powers are derived from the Supreme Source, Lord Krishna, and they act as long as he desires and cease to function as soon as he withdraws. All electrical energies are received from the powerhouse, and as soon as powerhouse stops supplying energy, the bulbs of no use. In a moment's time, such energies can be generated or withdrawn by the supreme will of the Lord. Material civilization without the blessings of the Lord is child's play only. As long as the parents allow the child to play, it's all right. As soon as the parents withdraw, the child has to stop. Human civilization and all activities thereof must be dovetailed with the supreme blessings of the Lord. And without the blessings, all advancement of human civilization is like decoration on a dead body. It is said here that a dead civilization and its activities are something like clarified butter on ashes, the accumulation of money by a magic wand, and the sowing of seeds in a barren land.
So here we see that how Prabhupada was not just a kind of a spiritualist like any other Swami, because generally you see the how other Swamis they speak. They just speak about Krishna, bhakti karo, अच्छा रहता है. No Swami you'll find kind of attacking the whole thread of current civilization only. Even when one of the leaders of Shankaracharya was called in some of the school program, and then they had called one kind of scientist also. So this Shankaracharya told that children nowadays you should do these two things. Be a very good student and learn science, and then perfect your life. So where is the perfection here? So they speak according to the audience, and they have nothing to give and take with Krishna consciousness or anything spiritual like that. But here, Prabhupada is not just any ordinary Swami. He is giving the guideline for practically the whole world. So when Prabhupada was telling that, somebody said that Prabhupada will conquer the whole world and then you can be the king. Prabhupada said, no, I'll not be the king. I'll be the counselor of king, not king. So that is not just like joking words. They are not just joking words. Prabhupada really mean it. And that will happen. One devotee was telling that tomorrow the day will come, the High Court judges, they will go with the purports and then give judgment on that. So the decisions will be made depending on Prabhupada's purports, how things should work. So these books are not just made for some brahmacharis to read and then preach in some choices, but these books are going to the guidelines for the whole society. So by these guidelines, the ministers, by these guidelines, doctors, engineers, professionals will act. That is what Prabhupada purports are. And actually previously it was like that only. You may be as great as the king also, Chakravarti, but then you may be Samrat, but then you abide by the the law books given by Krishna in the forms of scriptures. So now the scriptures are very inaccessible, but in Prabhupada purports are the kind of essence of all these Vedic scriptures. So when Prabhupada says that this human civilization is all just a child's play, he says material civilization without the blessing of the Lord is child's play only. So the child may make many buildings and roads and whatnot in the sand, but then that play is till the point parents allow him to go through. So similarly, without Lord's sanction, without Lord's mercy. All such kind of things are just child's play. And Prabhupada writes here that one should not be puffed up by the borrowed plumes. You know what is plumes? So, feather. So that story is there that once Crow was supposed to be get married, but then he was like very much taunted and things like that. So he thought that at least today I should look very beautiful. So he went to the peacock and borrowed some plumes, telling that give, and then Crow took that and then he stick by Fevikwik or something all over, and then he was looking very nice. So, but then that was only for one day only. When the rain came, then everything became as it is. So, one cannot be puffed up with the borrowed plumes. Borrowed plumes means now he borrowed beauty from somebody which was not his, and neither he could maintain it. So, similarly, we are borrowing beauty, strength, intelligence, everything from Krishna. And then we cannot be proud of something which we don't have. One may say, but I don't, what do you mean by borrowing? I'm intelligent. Yes, no. So that is my intelligence. But then if that is your intelligence, then it should work according to your order. It doesn't work. It works something else only. Sometimes you want solution, it doesn't give. Sometimes you want it in work in one fashion, it doesn't work in that fashion. So that means it's not yours. So when I can say that this is mine, when it is under full control of me, I own it. Nobody can snatch it. Then it is mine. This body itself doesn't belong to us because it is snatched at the time of death. Our mind, intelligence, everything is snatched. So then where is the question of calling it as mine? So one should not be puffed up by the borrowed plumes. That means the preacher should not be puffed up thinking that I am a big preacher. A singer should not be puffed up thinking that I am the best singer in the temple. Person who is doing some menial services, he should not think that I am the most humble person in the whole world. So, nobody can be puffed up of any such special facilities, the qualities are given by Krishna, and then he can take at any time, and that's how they are borrowed. They are not owned. Yes.
Okay, Krishna has chosen us to empower in a certain way, although temporarily, but it was out of everybody else. It was us, me, to whom Krishna has given this particular potential.
Yeah.
So the pride can come, although temporarily, okay, he will take, but not everybody is empowered in that way. So how to tackle that pride?
Yeah. See how the thing is, it's like we are empowered not because of our own qualification. We are empowered because somehow we are willing. So person who is empowered feels grateful, not feel yes, it is just because I deserve it, this empowerment. So that is one thing. Second, empowerment is done for different reasons, not always because you are so glorious. Rameshwar Prabhupada's disciple was telling this, that he was a temple president, and generally temple president that time was considered very kind of because Prabhupada gave very great emphasis, importance to temple president. Sometimes more than GBC also, because he is on the ground and then Prabhupada used to take their suggestions, their views more seriously. So he was a temple president, and then two instances he says. So one day he had gone to meet Prabhupada. Prabhupada had come nearby. So he went and he introduced himself that I am Rameshwar Das, and he felt that Prabhupada may not know what his service is. So he said that I am temple president of this center. So he was expecting that Prabhupada will say, oh, you are temple president, very nice, this, that. So Prabhupada told him, temple president means anything wrong happens in temple, it is your responsibility. So he was like, he said, yes, Prabhupada. So then he went. So next other time, again he had gone. So he had taken one devotee who was like his just new devotee was there and doing some services like that. So then they both went to meet Prabhupada. Prabhupada had come, big program, and then Prabhupada was supposed to go next to other place. They were also supposed to leave. So they thought that before leaving, we just meet Prabhupada. So here Rameshwar Prabhu goes, introduces himself, introduces the devotee also. And then Prabhupada removes the garland. And then Rameshwar Prabhu was expecting that because I'm temple president. It's like, and he's just a new junior, he's assistant to me. So Prabhupada took the garland and gave to that assistant. So he was feeling, arey, what is this going on? So, like, so he, of course, he didn't say like that. But then Rameshwar Prabhu was telling that after within almost 3 months period, the devotee left. He had so many issues, some like he was not able to adjust and things like that. So then he was telling, then I understood why Prabhupada was giving him that garland. He was giving that garland because he knew that isko zarurat hai. ये mercy का जरूरत है इसको. So he was giving him so much mercy, empowerment, everything. Without that he will die. So we should feel like that. When somebody garlands us, we should feel that I need it, otherwise I'll die only. Others can still survive, but then I need it. And that's how it is given. So when such empowerment facilities come, we should be humbled. That if this is not there, how I'll survive? So when the empowerment comes, person feels humbled, not proud. Grateful also. Okay. Yes.
Translation. This gives 3 analogies. So 2 are I understood, but third one, this magic wand. So I didn't understand the incident, what happens actually.
The money created by a magic wand has no value. It has no value. Jaisa, he can create whatever he has money, that much only. If he has 1,000, that much only he can show. He has 1,000 and he cannot create 1 lakh rupees by doing like that. So it has no value for that magic wand. He cannot create 10 crore rupees just because he wants. Magic is magic only. It's for show, not for actual value. Like that.
Magician didn't create the money. He already have money, and that he
Yeah.
shows by some trick.
Yeah. He cannot create new something valuable. That much only it is. Okay. Next. 20 second. राजन्स्त्वयानुपृष्टानां सुहृदाम्ना सुहृत्पुरे विप्रशापविमूढानां निघ्नतां मुष्टिभिर्मिथः वारुणिं मदिरां पीत्वा मदोन्मथितचेतसाम् अजानतामिवान्योन्यं चतुष्पञ्चावशेषिताः.
O king, since you have asked me about our friends and relatives in the city of Dwarka, I will inform you that all of them were cursed by the Brahmanas, and as the result, they all became intoxicated with the wine made of pure putrefied rice and fought among themselves with sticks, not even recognizing one another. Now all but 4 or 5 of them are dead and gone.
So he told about the clash between the Yadavas, and then they fought, and then they departed. Why? Because all these Yadavas, they were family relation ship, because the Kunti was from that side. Kunti was the sister of Vasudeva, and the Pandavas are this side. So they are quite closely connected with their family connection. Text 24. प्रायेणैतदीश भगवत् ईश्वरस्य विचेष्टितं मिथो निघ्नन्ति भूतानि भावयन्ति च यन्मिथः.
Factually, this is all due to the supreme will of the Lord, the personality of Godhead. Sometimes people kill one another, and at another time they protect one another.
Yeah. So he says that how this is all due to the supreme will of the Lord. That sometimes people behave in one way, or sometimes people behave in another way. So what it means, if it is the will of the Lord, then who is responsible for such behavior? But it is the will of the Lord. Hmm? Okay, I am becoming sick. Is that the will of the Lord? Lord is allowing. So that means Lord willfully is allowing. Na? Huh? Making him sick. Huh? Huh? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So for non-devotees, the system created by the Lord, that represents the will of the Lord. So when the police is beating prisoner, is that the will of the Prime Minister? In ultimate sense, it is, because he only has created that whole system. he has not kind of chosen him as an enemy and then get beaten up, but that is his system, that anybody has done this crime, this much beating will be there. So that is the will of the Lord. But then when somebody is that king's his own son is there who is doing some mischief, then that son may be punished personally by the king or prime minister or whatever. So that is surely different than the police beating up a criminal. So the second one, personal beating, that is more with personal attention and very sensitively using the love as the ingredient of that punishment. So similarly, Lord's will is supreme. Beyond Lord's will, nothing can happen. And then that Lord's will can come in different ways and means. So the devotees are always open to see the will of the Lord through devotees, through Guru, through the facts which he sees around. And that's how he understands the will of the Lord. And then he progresses in Krishna consciousness. So, like now, one of our dear devotees, Leela Keshav Prabhu, has now departed yesterday night. That is will of the Lord. It is will of the Lord because he has made the system, and then when he is taking care of that devotee, he knows what is best for him. And that's how we should see it. Like I still remember one of the most loved devotee in Vrindavan that time was our Ainder Prabhu. And then he also left his body in some very strange accident, that his whole room which is there in the ashram, so many devotees are staying, that got on fire, and in that he left his body. And in his room, hundreds of Shaligram Shilas were there, and then like that. Small room, now also you can go and see. And then next day when they opened it, they found him lying on the Dandavat Shilas, and then he was dead. So then how you explain that? That he was so nicely serving the Lord, proper disciple, and then something like that happens. That's what exactly we don't know, how the Lord does what thing in whose life. When the Lord wants somebody to quickly come, he may use anything, whether accident or curse or whatever, and then bring him close to him. Or to avoid his some other engagement in material life. If there is some danger, then he just cuts off that whole journey and takes U-turn and go back to Godhead. So the Lord can pull anybody lovingly in any way. So that Lord's will has to be seen, not in terms of material good or bad. Lord's will is beyond that. The way the doctor may with good will can give you injection, with good will he can do surgery, cut open the heart. So similarly we see the Lord's hand. Ultimately it is good for that person and good for everybody, like that. So here we see that he is feeling that Lord is taking away everything, and he is like considering himself bereft of the Lord. Yeah. Next. Yes. Hmm. Yeah. This is my personal experience also, understanding also, that when I was very small, we had gone to some temple, this local temple. So they had this whole, ये होता है ना, ईयरली कुछ फंक्शन रहता है उनका बड़ा. So in that they were giving kind of prasad. So I asked him, what is that? So they said that this is they had kept that rice for long time, and then that water they were giving as a. So I said, "Arey, no, mujhe nahi chahiye." So they were forcing little bit, but I didn't take. So some places that tradition is there. So now the panta is there. So that panta, some people feel that is it's good for health because it's cools down. Some people feel this is a tamoguni. Some people feel, so whatever things are. But then that traditionally some beverages are there like that. Even if you drink more honey, you will feel intoxicated. If you drink too much honey, you will sleep only. So there are many such things are there which it's like they are harmful also if too much taken, and then like that. So it has capacity of making you intoxicated, but it is not like beer or that type. So that is like that's how this panta rice. That is one example. That is like if you take, that is some people feel that it's good. Some people say that no, we don't want to take. So these are the some beverages. This our Varuni is like that. In some cases, we find people using such kind of things, specifically in Kshatriyas. We find such kind of practices like that. Okay. It has a, that's what I'm telling. It has a capacity to make you intoxicated. That's what I'm telling. It has a capacity to intoxicate. But that intoxication can happen even by honey also. You take pure honey, 1 liter, you will be intoxicated. So then honey is good or bad? So that's what I'm telling, that no, it has a, for example, Madira means in our day-to-day life, alcohol is considered Madira. Simple. But you find that some percentage of alcohol is there even in your medicines also. When you drink this cough syrup or something. So can you tell that as Madira? That cough syrup is 20% Madira. Yes, so technically yes. Practically we don't say like that. It's a medicine. So that's what I'm telling, that this is not like drinking beer, that type of. These are some, what you can say, these are first class, like that. Yeah. No, that's where I saw that. Yeah, in one of the lecture I was hearing that when you drink that somras, you get physical strength, and so it's like the effects can show that it is healthy. It is not like somebody drinks somras and then he is, you know, fallen on the gutter near. ऐसा नहीं होता है वो सोमरस पी के. हाँ. So this maybe somebody who is little more exactly knowing what it is. This is what my understanding is. That this is. Yeah. Okay.
Why people drink such kind of, like, they are very pious people
Hmm.
and drinking is not.
That's how thing is that some things are there which are there socially accepted phenomena. For example, the Kshatriyas, they play this gambling. That is like accepted phenomena of the Kshatriyas. Hunting, it's like that. Okay, we'll surely give this suggestion to them. Okay, we go ahead. Yeah, yeah. In our Talasri also, that that this yeah, Neera it is. So Neera is very healthy. When it gets little afternoon, then it becomes fermented. So that is another way, that how much it is fermented depends whether it is, can be called as Madira or not. You know? Hmm. Morning. Yeah. Yeah. They were telling that Ekadashi को भी चलता है वो. Right? So afterwards then I didn't see. Then it stopped. Okay. 25th. 25th? No, हो गया. 24th? 24th. 24th हो गया. 25th. जलौकसां जले यद् महान्तो दण्यनीयसः दुर्बलान् बलिनो राजन् महान्तो बलिनो मिथः एवं बलिष्ठैर्यदुभिर्महद्भिरितरान् विभु यदुन्यादुभिरन्योन्यं भूभारान् संजहारः.
O king, as in the ocean, the bigger and stronger aquatics swallow up the smaller and weaker ones, so also the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to lighten the burden of the earth, has engaged the stronger Yadu to kill the weaker, and the bigger Yadu to kill the smaller.
Yeah. So he's just giving the understanding that that's how the Lord acts in this world. So we should understand that that is Lord's plan. It is not. Sometimes the miseries of this world and the kind of the flaws which can be seen, they are not the flaws, they are the kept with some intention by the Lord. Like one person who is quite famous, he is the atheist, he has written a book telling that these are the proofs how there is no intelligence in creating this world. So he has given many such examples that this world is created not by intelligent person. If the intelligent person would have created, he should not have done this mistake. Like that he says. And then one example he says that the tiger is created. and then tiger is created and his food is created as deer. But then the deer is created in such a way that it runs very fast. So that means मैच नहीं हो रहा ना. अगर टाइगर बनाया है तो खाना, जैसे अभी माँ है, बच्चा पैदा करती है और वो खाना ऐसा वो भागते हुआ खाना, उसको बोलेंगे चपाती है लेकिन ये चपाती भागता है, तो तुमको पकड़ना पड़ेगा. तो ऐसा क्यों करेगी वो मदर? मदर तो बोलेंगे चपाती ले लो खाओ, लाइक ना. He says that how can somebody intelligent person makes the food runs? It's like mistake है ना वो. So this is their understanding, but it is not like that. So this world is made to give that misery. This is a jail. If that insecurity, if that misery is not there, then what is the meaning of jail? Jail means you break stones and then the meal comes, not otherwise. So that insufficiency is generally people, they feel that that's how God is not there, because God is very intelligent, and then but here the intelligence doesn't seem to be like that. But then they don't have that proper understanding. They just go by some logic, and that logic takes them somewhere else only. Like that. Okay, we'll go to next. 27. देशकालार्थयुक्तानि हृत्तोपशममाञ्च हरन्ति स्मरतश्चित्तं गोविन्दाभिहितानि मे.
Now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by the personality of Godhead Govinda, because they are impregnated with instructions for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space.
Yeah, so Prabhupada writes very nice purport, telling that now here some next few shlokas are there which talks about the relevance and importance of Bhagavad Gita. So now Arjuna was remembering Krishna's very wonderful pastimes. Now he starts remembering the instructions given to him in the form of Bhagavad Gita. They also give him great solace. Yes. Yeah. 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 Hmm. No, this is not concerned regarding sin. He is telling that's how the work, that's how the world is managed by the Lord. Yeah. Ahastani, Chahastana. Yeah. So, yeah. See, yeah, so in a jail, the criminal is weaker section and the police is stronger. And what happens is they beat him up. Like that. So when the police is beating him, is there sin? It's not a sin, it is a system made so that he reforms. So it's basically the whole thing is for reformation. In that, sometimes you'll be killed, sometimes you'll be troubled, sometimes you'll be like that. So it's basically it's a process of reformation. He may die, take another birth. This whole thing is for reformation. Understand? It's a process. It's not a sin or not sin. Everything is process. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. No, that whole pastime has many lessons. First, you may be as powerful as Yadus, you may be as close to Krishna, but you can't meddle with devotees. If you do Vaishnava aparadh, same Krishna can kill you. So, second was that how one should not be childish in his behavior, the way that children they acted. Another was that Lord did not want any of his descendants to claim the proprietorship or superiority over this section, because he has already seen that Kshatriyas, they have that tendency to become master. So, seeing all these things, then he took this way of making them disappear. So it's like that. Yes. Hmm?
End up like this.
Yeah, yeah. So he just instructing the whole world. So here in this purport, some things what are right. So the words of Govinda, he writes, that is the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. In the end of the first, so end of the, he says the problem which arose in the heart of Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra was solved by the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Again, after the departure of the Lord from the vision of earthly people, when Arjuna was face to face with being vanquished in his acquired power and prominence, he wanted again to remember the great teachings of Bhagavad Gita, just to teach all concerned that the Bhagavad Gita can be consulted in all critical times, not only for solace from all kinds of mental agonies, but also for the way out of great entanglements which may embarrass one in some critical hours. So, beginning of war, Bhagavad Gita was needed. Now the war has over now. Everything is going nice. There also Bhagavad Gita is needed. So Lord wanted to show that Bhagavad Gita is needed everywhere. War, no war, happiness, distress, success, failure. In all times Bhagavad Gita is utilized. So somebody can read this, the merciful Lord.
The merciful Lord left behind him the great teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, so that one can take the instructions of the Lord even when he is not visible to material eyesight. Material senses cannot have any estimation of the Supreme Lord, but by his inconceivable power, the Lord can incarnate himself to the sense perception of the conditioned souls in a suitable manner through the agency of matter, which is also another form of the Lord's manifested energy. Thus, the Bhagavad Gita or any authentic scriptural sound representation of the Lord is also the incarnation of the Lord. There is no difference between the sound representation of the Lord and the Lord himself. One can derive the same benefit from the Bhagavad Gita as Arjuna did in the personal presence of the Lord.
Yeah. So he's telling that how Vani and Vapu, they both are same in terms of their effect. So whether you are personally associating with Krishna or hearing his Vani, both will have the similar effect of transformation and making spiritual advancement. End of that purport, Prabhupada writes, Bhagavad Gita begins with the problem of life by discriminating the soul from the element of matter and proves by all reason and argument that the soul is indestructible in all circumstances, and that the outer covering of matter, the body and the mind, change from another term of material existence which is full of miseries. The Bhagavad Gita is therefore meant for terminating all different types of miseries. So that is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita, to remove all the miseries from the lives of people. So if somebody asks, what is this Bhagavad Gita? We can tell that this Bhagavad Gita is there to remove all the miseries from one's life. Like that. Text 28.
Shutavacha
एवं चिन्तयतो जिष्णुः कृष्णपादसरोरुहं सौहार्देनातिगाढेन शान्तासीद्विमला मतिः.
Translation. Sut Goswami said, thus, being deeply absorbed in thinking of the instructions of the Lord, which were imparted in the great intimacy of friendship, and in thinking of his lotus feet, Arjuna's mind became pacified and free from all material contamination.
So we see here that is the effect of meditating on the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. So just by meditating on the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, what happens? Mind becomes pacified and free from all material contaminations. So just by remembering Bhagavad Gita, remembering the shlokas, remembering the translations, even remembering the part of the purports, what happens is mind becomes pacified and free from material contamination. You know that, na? In one of the lecture, Prabhupada says, this is the problem with all of you. Today you want to go to Japan, tomorrow you want to go to America, tomorrow you want to go here, there, always running. Why so much, mind is troubling? Then he says, because you are not reading my books. That's why your mind is taking you all places here, there. So if you just read Prabhupada books, mind is pacified and then we become free from material contamination. The anarthas which clouds the intelligence and creates so much disturbance, that can be clarified. Yes.
Vasudevangri.
Okay. You are going with next. Okay. We'll follow you, don't worry. Vasudevang dhyanam paribruhita ramhasa bhaktya nirmathita shesha kashaya dhishanarjunaha.
Arjuna's constant remembrance of the lotus feet of the Lord Shri Krishna rapidly increased his devotion, and as a result all the trash in his thoughts subsided.
Yeah. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, first line only. He says, material desires in the mind are the trash of material contamination. So material contamination comes out in the terms of material desires. So the more material desires, that means more contamination. Okay, text 30.
The word subsided is used.
Yeah.
Not like erased or completely
Yeah.
removed, but it is there on the side.
Yeah.
It can come again also.
Yeah. That shloka in the Bhagavatam, that also says, na? Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. It is nashta praya, not nashta. Nashta praya means almost. So that is always there. Text 30. गीतं भगवता ज्ञानं यत्तत् संगाममुद्धनि कालकर्म तमोरुद्धं पुनरध्यागम.
Prabhu. Translation. Because of the Lord's pastimes and activities, and because of the absence, and because of his absence, it appeared that Arjuna forgot the instructions left by the personality of Godhead. But factually, this was not the case, and again he became Lord of his senses.
Yeah. So it appeared that he lost track, but again he remembered. Nairgunyad lingatvad sambhavaha.
Because of his possessing spiritual assets, the doubts of duality were completely cut off. Thus, he was free from the three modes of material nature and placed in transcendence. There was no longer any chances of his becoming entangled in birth and death, for he was freed from material form.
Yeah. So if you go to the last lines of the purport, here it says that Arjuna had attained the stage long before on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and when he apparently felt the absence of the Lord, he at once took shelter of the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, and thus again he was placed in his original position. This is the position of Vishoka, or the stage of being freed from all grief and anxieties. So whenever we connect to Bhagavad Gita, to the message of the Lord, then we are again reinstated. Text 32. Nishamya bhagavan margam samstam yadukulasya cha swahvathaya matim chakre nibhutatma yudhishthiraha.
Upon hearing of Lord Krishna's returning to his abode, and upon understanding the end of the Yadu dynasty's earthly manifestation, Maharaj Yudhishthir decided to go back home, back to Godhead.
Yeah. So then he gave the whole, kingship in these two devotees' hands. Which one? Parikshit Maharaj and Vajranabha. So these two. So Vajranabha became the king of the Mathura, and then Parikshit Maharaj became the king of Hastinapur, like that. So now 33. Vajranabha is the great grandson of Krishna. Yeah. Text 33. Pruthapyanushrutya dhananjayoditam nasham yadunam bhagavadgatim chatam ekanta bhaktya bhagavatyadhokshaje niveshitatmo pararama samsrute.
Kunti, after overhearing Arjuna's telling of the end of Yadu dynasty and disappearance of Lord Krishna, engaged in the devotional service of the transcendental personality of Godhead with full attention, and thus gained release from the course of material existence.
Yeah. So when Kunti heard that Lord has departed, then she also disappeared. The details, things are not given here, but then she also went back home, back to Godhead. Text 34. Yeah.
One of the purport where the history about 4 women is given, like Gandhari, Kunti, Draupadi and Subhadra. So in that history, Prabhupada is writing that Kunti also entered in the fire with Gandhari, forest fire, with Gandhari. No, it is mentioned Gandhari.
Okay, somebody can find it out. Go ahead.
No, how to understand that?
No. We can understand by two ways. One, that whenever there is some such major conflict is there, then Jiva Goswami gives that understanding that it may be kalpa bhed. So that is like they may be of, what is there? Read it.
Okay, Prabhuji. So here it is written, later she went to forest with Gandhari for severe penance. She used to take meals after each 30 days. She finally sat down in the profound meditation and later burned to ashes in a forest fire.
Yeah. So that is one way of understanding, that she went along with Gandhari and then went back to Godhead. Here it appears that Arjuna is coming, telling the news, and then she left for the back to Godhead. And both can be true. There is no, both can be different situations, different pastimes.
If we take the sentence like later she went to forest fire with Gandhari for severe penance, but it is not mentioned that she came back or like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling. This can be in two different yugas. Like it's like a different set of instances. It's not the same instance. Actually क्या है कि who has written that Mahabharata depends. So the devotional understanding of Mahabharata, technical understanding of Mahabharata, that may be different. For example, some very great devotees left in the hospital. If you ask the doctor, he will give all the details. उनका BP down हो गया, उनका ये fail हो गया, and that's how he died. Not even single word of back to Godhead, Krishna will be there in that. If you ask his personal servant or some other devotee senior, he will say he was so happy, with big smile he went back to Godhead. So both are writing the same report of the same instance, how he left. But you take the report of doctor and then you compare that with devotee's report, वो कुछ match ही नहीं करेगा वो. So Mahabharata also can be seen in, that's how he says that Mahabharata has how many, 5 or 10 different meanings. So how you see it, it's like that. Because I used to hear this story of Parikshit Maharaj only, that Parikshit Maharaj became very fearful after hearing that after 7 days he's going to die. And then he put kind of, he's like, aisa vagara. And then somebody gave some fruit, and then he took that fruit, and then one insect was there, and then that insect became big, and then he tried to save his life, but he couldn't save. So that's how that was the thing. So it's like so this is what I'm telling, that one thing can be seen from so many angles. If third person is there who has no idea of devotion, and he is there to see the death of Parikshit Maharaj, he will say like this only. He tried for 7 days fasting वगैरह, but कुछ हुआ नहीं उसका. It was useless. He died ultimately. So that is, so there can be different ways and means.
But Prabhuji, so that what about written that going to forest with Gandhari is in purport?
That's what I'm telling.
And this is verse itself. So this is verse itself that Kunti was present.
That's what I'm telling. That's what I'm telling, that there can be two different instances, not the same.
Just my question is that, like, when Prabhupada was commenting, that he could not just, I don't want to question on him, but just for I'm asking that, cannot correlated with that here it is mentioned like this thing, and he's writing in the purport that she went with Gandhari.
I can give you some 2-3 things like that, even in Bhagavatam only, which have that kalpa bhed. So that's why Jiva Goswami says that if you see like this somewhere, it's because of Kalpabheda. Like that. Okay, we can go ahead, I think, because it's like, you can ask, but later on. Which one? 34. Yaya haradhuo bharam tam tanum vijahavajaha kantakam kantake neva dvayam chapi shitu samam.
The Supreme Unborn, Lord Sri Krishna, caused the member of Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, and he relieved the burden of the world. This action was like picking out the thorn with a thorn, though both are the same to the controller.
Yeah. So here in the purport, Prabhupada writes, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur suggests that the rishis like Shaunaka and others who were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Sutta Goswami at Naimisharanya were not happy to hear about the Yadus dying in the madness of intoxication. To give them relief from this mental agony, Sutta Goswami assured them that the Lord caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, by which they had to take away the burden of the world. So, same thing which we were discussing, that how can they do that, why did they do that, text 35. Yatha matsyadi rupani dhatte jahyad yatha nataha bhubharaha kshapito yena jaho tacha kalevaram.
Just like a magician, he relinquishes one body to accept different ones, like the fish incarnation or others.
Yeah. Does not take the body and then give up the body. So he says that he comes and goes. He manifests and unmanifests, like that. So, the way we leave the body, he doesn't do that. He manifests himself and then unmanifests himself. Yeah. Burden of earth is done because of irreligion. Yeah. So the another irreligion comes when the power comes, then the corruption comes. That where the irreligion starts, where the power is there. So the Kali resides in the money or hoarding of. Okay, text 36. Yada mukundo bhagavan imam mahim jaho swatantva shravaniya satkatha tada hareva pratibuddha chetasa abhadrahetuhu kaliran vavartata.
When the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, left this earthly planet in his self-same form, from that very day Kali, who had already partially appeared, became fully manifest to create inauspicious conditions for those who are endowed with a poor fund of knowledge.
Yeah. So entering of Kali also comes under the bigger plan of the Lord only. The Lord only has created Kali Yuga. So he has to give him some space. So the Lord, when he disappeared, then Kali became prominent, like that. Text 37. Yudhishtiras tat parisarpanam bhutaha pure cha rashtre cha gruhe tathatmani vibhavya lobhanutajim hinsana dharma chakram gamanaya paryadhat.
Maharaj Yudhishthira was intelligent enough to understand the influence of the age of Kali, characterized by increasing avarice, falsehood, cheating and violence throughout the capital, state, home and among individuals. So he wisely prepared himself to leave home, and he dressed accordingly.
Yeah. So in the end of the purport, that whole we can write from the Maharaj Yudhishthir was a great devotee of the Lord. Somebody can read? It's almost in the middle of the purport.
Maharaj Yudhishthira was a great devotee of the Lord, and there was no necessity of his being afraid of the age of Kali. But he preferred to retire from active household life and prepare himself to go back to Godhead. The Pandavas are eternal companions of the Lord, and therefore they are more interested in the company of the Lord than anything else. Besides that, being an idle king, Maharaj Yudhishthira wanted to retire just to set an example for others. As soon as there is some young fellow to look after the household affairs, one should at once retire from family life to uplift oneself to spiritual realization. One should not rot in the dark well of household life till one is dragged out by the will of Yamaraj. Modern politicians should take lessons from Maharaj Yudhishthira about voluntary retirement from the active life and should make room for the younger generation. Also, retired old gentlemen should take lessons from him and leave home for spiritual realization before forcefully dragged away to meet death.
Yeah. So here we understand that Maharaj Yudhishthir retired. Why he retired? Huh? Yeah. So he says that he did not retire because Kali came and then he was afraid. That was not the reason. He just wanted to prepare the last part of his life. And he felt that that is a good time because Krishna has left, so I also should leave. And second thing, he says that set an example. That's how one should be. So the Bhagavatam describes and teaches us how to gracefully leave the world. Not that somebody disgracefully push you out. So that's how we see that no Kshatriya will die at home. That was law. That if Kshatriya is dying at home, it's considered very unfortunate. Either he will go in the forest to perform tapasya and then he'll die, or he go on the battlefield and he die. Death of Kshatriya at home, not very prestigious. Okay, text 38. Swarat pautram vinayana matmanah susamam gunaihi toya nivyapatim bhure bhyashich gaja vaye.
Translation. Thereafter, in the capital of Hastinapur, he enthroned his grandson, who was trained and equally qualified, as the emperor and master of all land bordered by the seas.
Yeah. So he made the proper arrangement. He made the Pautram, that is the grandson, the king, and then he left. Text 39. Mathurayam tatha vajram shurasena patim tataha prajapatyam nirushte agnima pibadishvaraha.
Then he posted Vajra, the son of Aniruddha, grandson of Lord Sri Krishna, at Mathura as the king of Surasen. Afterwards, Maharaj Yudhishthira performed a Prajapatya, a sacrifice, and placed in himself the fire for quitting household life.
Yeah. So these are some of the technical details what he did before leaving. Hmm? Yeah, so writes that. Prabhupada writes, placed in himself the fire of putting household life. It is like a somebody who leaves the world, or what is that? They actually give the fire also. That's no, not pibat means you take it. Like when there was if some lady is going as a sati, then she was given a pot of fire. With that pot of fire, she enters into the fire of her husband. So that fire itself is that is caused by some yajna, and then that fire she carries, and then she enters with that fire. That's like technicalities of how it happens. So he's given that fire because now he's going in another fire and merging it. So similarly, somebody is leaving. So then he is also performed that kind of sacrifices like that. So generally, how the thing is that people, they go out in the forest or something like that. There also some the arrangements are there made regarding the their stay and then other things. So this was also one of the thing. Some cases you find that those who is to travel, sometimes they carry the fire with them previously. Nowadays we have where somebody traveling in some forest or something, then he carries that fire and then goes. I'm just telling that there are some social technicalities at that time. That's how they were living. Here specifically, as he says, that Prajapatya sacrifice did, and then the remnants of that fire. The way there is a sannyas ceremony, yes, there is a fire sacrifice, and then the remnants of that fire sacrifice, that is the kopin, danda, and then so these are the and that's how he is given, and then he takes sannyas. So like that. So in that sense, he apibat agnin. He placed that agni. So maybe we can get more details from the samskara, not channel. That. Huh? Hmm? Maybe the Shur Sena is the that either dynasty or place. Text 40. Visrujya tatra tat sarvam dukula valayadikam nirmamo nirahankaraha sachinya sheshabandhanaha.
Maharaj Yudhishthir at once relinquished all his garments, belts, and ornaments of the royal order and became completely disinterested and unattached to everything.
Yeah, so this purport is important. We can read it.
Purport. To become purified of material contamination is the necessary qualification for becoming one of the associate of the Lord. No one can become an associate of the Lord or go back to Godhead without such purification. Maharaj Yudhishthira, therefore, to become spiritually pure, at once gave up his royal opulence, relinquishing his royal dress and garments. The kashaya or the saffron lion cloth of a sannyasi indicates freedom from all attractive material garments, and thus he changed his dress accordingly. He became disinterested in his kingdom and family, and thus became free from all material contamination or material designation. People are generally attached to various kinds of designation. The designation of family, society, country, opulence, wealth, position, and many others. As long as one is attached to such designation, he is considered materially impure. The so-called leaders of men in the modern age are attached by national consciousness, but they do not know that such false consciousness is another designation of the materially conditioned soul. One has to relinquish such designation before one can become eligible to go back to Godhead.
Yeah. So he that he became purified by giving up the material contamination in the form of this. He accepted the dress externally, saffron dress, and then internally he relinquished all material designations. I am the king, and this is my kingdom, or I am the proprietor, I am the maintainer. So that designations he gave up, which was the contamination. So Prabhupada writes here, Maharaj Yudhishthira, therefore, to become spiritual pure, at once gave up his royal opulence, dress, garments, etc. Like that. And then Prabhupada writes that even designations like Desh Bhakti, या जो भी dharma, bhakti this time, like that. So they all are some designations. So as long as one is attached to such designations, he is considered materially impure. The so-called leaders of men in the modern age are attached by national consciousness. But they do not know that that is a false consciousness. Real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. Not. So the Prabhupada writes ahead that foolish people adore such men who die in national consciousness. But here is an example of Maharaj Yudhishthir, a royal king, who prepared himself to leave this world without such national consciousness. Actually, this we can see also when the Bhaktivinoda Thakur was magistrate, and then he was quite well-known writer and philosopher, like that. So he and one more, that time, big writer, I think his name was Bankim Chandra. So they both were running a newspaper every day. He was the editor, and collaboration they were doing. But then at one point of time, this another, his partner, started putting too many national agenda topics, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, why we are diluting our whole thing. But he said, no, it's need. Now we have to make it, like, we have to gear up for the freedom. So understanding the whole thing, Bhaktivinoda Thakur left that newspaper. So you can imagine now he was like that was considered like great to be on that consciousness. Now also we feel that Desh Bhakti and then those who are like patriots, things like that, they are great. Yes, they are great on material plane. When it comes to the spiritual plane, that is considered as contamination. For a conditioned soul, that is a contamination matter, which keeps him in this material world only. So we can see that the elevated consciousness of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that he left. He was not, he didn't flow in the whole flow of that Desh Bhakti. It takes so much courage and guts to say that, okay, आप सब लोग ठीक है, आप करना है करो, I'll not be part of that. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur was having that, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was seeing that whole thing that was happening at his home. And that's how he also got that very clear-cut understanding about Desh Bhakti and Krishna Bhakti. Very clear he was. And that's how when he talked to Prabhupada first time, when Prabhupada was Desh Bhakti, he said, "Arey, this Desh Bhakti is not urgent thing. Krishna Bhakti is more urgent than that." So we see that Acharyas, they are very clear in their consciousness. What is meant, what is less important. Yes?
To people in general. So just like I was presenting this, so then the point came was Ukraine and Russia wala. So like somebody has to act like that, otherwise then we'll be exploited. Like just like there is a praja, there has to be a raja, somebody. So we cannot condemn people who are at that position of leading the society like that. In due course of time, one can understand the example, one can learn from Yudhishthira Maharaj that if I become old, then I should give it up. But simply by condemning that all people who are having this kind of consciousness, Desh Bhakti, they are wrong. So that may not work out because somebody will have to lead. And then as you said, of course, Prabhupada said that I would like to be the counselor and not the king. But somebody has to lead like that, right?
No, you mean to say that if people are not Desh Bhakta, then the national security will not be proper, or the functioning will not be proper.
I mean the facility and like
So-
certainly we need some help of government in the sense to be able to spread and so that it goes ahead.
Yeah. So
wildfire.
yeah, understand. In the Vedic times, there was no need of such kind of national consciousness, because all the kings, they were religious, and then there were no demarcations of different nations and things like that. So this is created now. Even Rabindranath Tagore also, he says that how the man has created walls, and then he just so this is a created problem. So understanding that this world is one unit and that is owned by the Lord. And some kings, they have their own kind of role to play as a Lord's representative. If one Lord's representative understands that other Lord's representative is not working proper, then he takes over and then makes sure that the Brahmanas, cows and people are taken care. So that is how it should work actually. When you make yourself in compartments and then you start fighting and then so it's like first you create a problem and then you try to solve it. And then you say that it's needed. It's not needed. Because anyway you get into it, it's a waste of time and human energy is lost in that. So if you go from pure understanding, it's not necessary. It's like that. So it's like that. So, does that mean that previously the Kshatriyas, they were not having that Desh Bhakti or something? Yes, they always fought for dharma, not for Desh Bhakti. They felt that this is a religious war. I am fighting for Krishna. I'm fighting for the Lord's purpose. Like that. And then all the praja will help that king because he is a religious king, representative of God. So that's how everything was going on. There was no need of such national kind of pride or something like that. Because national pride has another side of hate to other nations. It's like that. You can't have one without it. It's like that. So that is a material consciousness. You love something and you hate something. So that's material consciousness. You may say that that is so like that. Okay. So okay. Any questions? Yeah.
The very senior devotee was encouraging that even the brahmacharis should vote.
Yeah, that is not ISKCON stand. That can be.
Follow the social customs, right? It should not aloof.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling that. So it's not wrong. And somebody voted wrong. It's up to, but that has nothing to give and take with direct spirituality. Like that. So those who vote, they tell that will help overall in spiritual development. It's like a supportive. Perfect. Somebody says that whether this or that, everything is of the same value. And then he remains aloof. That is also perfect. No problem. So, yeah, so that's what I'm telling. You can't say this is right and this is wrong. No. That's what I'm telling. Some people may not like to do that and unnecessarily waste time. So and that should be, so that's what I'm telling. Somebody takes that stand, it's not a kind of the stand. That is particular people stand, group stand, like that. Okay. So text 41. Vacham juhava manasi tat prana itare chatam mrityavapanam sotsargam tam panchatve hyajo havid.
Then he amalgamated all the sense organs into the mind, then the mind into life, life into breathing, his total existence into the embodiment of the five elements in his body. Then, as pure self, he became free from the material conception of life.
It's very complicated yogic processes. It's better to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Use your mind, intelligence, false ego, whatever, and chant Hare Krishna. Text 42. Tritve hutva cha panchatvam tacchaikatve juhonmunihi sarvamanyatnya juhvid brahmanyatmanam avyaye.
Thus, annihilating the gross body of five elements into three qualitative modes of material nature, he merged them in one nescience and then observed that nescience in the self, Brahman, which is inexhaustible in all circumstances.
Yeah. 43. Yeah. Yeah. Customary. Generally, how the thing is that different ages, the body, the intelligence, the things are different, and then it is like somebody has a capacity to do two things together. Is given that, so that he feels happy, and then two things also happen. But if he has a capacity of doing one thing, then he is given one thing. If he has a capacity of two things and given only one thing, he may not be very happy. So like that. So I was I was hearing one of the class that in some places in educational system, when they understand that some people are too sharp, their mind goes too fast. So when the class is going on, they are given some other assignments also to do. So they keep hearing also, and then they keep doing other things also. If they don't do that, then they will be thoroughly distracted. जो चल रहा है वो भी नहीं सुनेंगे वो. And then, so some places that is needed to be done, right? So 43. Chiravasa niraharo baddhavang muktamurdhajah दर्शयन्नात्मजो रूपं जडोन्मत्त पिशाचवत् अनवेक्षमाणो निरगात् शृण्वन् बधिरो यथा.
After that, Maharaj Yudhishthira dressed himself in torn clothing, gave up eating all solid foods, voluntarily became dumb, and just like a deaf man, he heard nothing.
So what we learn from this? Here we understand that Maharaj Yudhishthira dressed himself in torn clothing. So we understand that whatever clothes are given to us by commander, we take it and don't unnecessarily kitpit nahi karne ka. And then he gave up eating solid foods. So we also eating too many rich food, specifically too much of paneer, not good. So if they are making paneer every day, it doesn't mean that you take every day. You have the choice to take it or not take. So you are not forced to take. So we should not take it, because that pastime is there. So our what is his name? Prabhupada's personal servant, Shuddhakirti Prabhu, writes that pastime in What's the Difficulty, that book. You'll find that. He says the paneer instruction of Prabhupada, like that. So he had made paneer for Prabhupada one day. He gave the bowl full of paneer sabji. Prabhupada liked it, took whole thing. Generally Prabhupada will not take. So he felt, Prabhupada liked it very much. Next day also again he made. So Prabhupada saw again paneer. So Prabhupada just took one paneer, ate it. Whole that bowl was as it is. So he felt that maybe I did not prepare paneer today nicely, so that's why. Third day again he made it. Full paneer. Then Prabhupada called him, "Kya chal raha hai?" He said, "Prabhupada, I felt that you liked it on the first day, and maybe I made some mistake on the second day. So I thought that I'll make again." And then Prabhupada said, "See, this is very heavy." And then Prabhupada said, "Paneer means sex desire." Very clear. Paneer means sex desire. Like that Prabhupada said. So he said that renunciates are not supposed to take so much heavy thing. And then, so he writes there that was the paneer instruction of Prabhupada. best of luck. So we follow that this person is taking full, this person is taking full. We feel that, I should not be the, I should not, so the server should not be displeased. So, like that. So whatever the thing is, that we should know that. So basically, eating, he gave up the eating solid foods. So we also should not eat too heavy things. So we eat, not hanging loose, we cut it off only. And then we became dumb, and we don't speak prajalpa. Like that. Speaking here, there. And then we became madman with no occupation. So we should become mad for Krishna and do our services. And we should not depend on the family and other friends like that. So, and then we should be deaf, not hearing the ill advice of those who are not on the same path of detaching oneself. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Generally, my understanding is that if somebody annihilated his gross body, then what is the question of dressing and other?
No, that is how the meditation is. That is the meditation. That he has his consciousness has lifted above the body. It's like that. Like that. So one is a internal meditation, this, that, and then external some activities are given which are supporting to that internal thing, which like makes it more powerful. We also do that.
Torn clothes.
Huh?
Torn clothes.
Yeah, so that gives that consciousness. Like when Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami also we find that when Sanatana Goswami came to Varanasi, met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was given a new cloth, he did not take it. He said, give me torn clothes. Torn means old clothes. So that creates that. So does that mean that Sanatana Goswami's renunciation was dependent on that clothes? No, he was already renounced. But then that's how they keep that status to enhance their. उनका कोई ऐसा ठिकाना नहीं होता है, ऐसा जैसे हमारा घर रहता है ना, एक घर होता है एक, वैसा तो उनका तो होल वर्ल्ड इज देयर लाइक दैट. एंड द Pishach is like have no material body also. He is freed from that material body. So many things are kind of compared. Somebody who has, वो रात को जंगल में घूमेगा वो, so ऐसा है, because he has no fear. Like that. तो एक one person was telling that ये ब्रह्मचारी जो है वो भूत के जैसे हैं. तो दूसरे एक डिवोटी थे, वो बोले यस, ब्रह्म भूत प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न कांक्षति. So some similarities like that. Okay, we go to next. Udicim praviveshasham gatapurvam mahatmabhihi Rudi Brahma param dhyayan navar yato gataha.
Transcends the north, treading the path accepted by his forefathers and great men, to devote himself completely to the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he lived in that way wherever he went.
So in the beginning, it says that importance of leaving all household. I'll read it. Emphasize is the importance of to leave all family connection for self-realization and going back to Godhead. No king or respectable gentleman would continue family life till the end, because that was considered suicidal and against the interest of the perfection of human life. So that was the training, that was the social understanding, and everybody lived by that. Yeah. Okay. 45. Sarve tamanujar भ्रातरः कृतनिश्चयाः कलिना धर्ममित्रेण दृष्ट्वा सृष्टाः प्रजा भुवि.
The younger brothers of Maharaj Yudhishthira observed that the age of Kali had already arrived throughout the world and that the citizens of the kingdom were already affected by irreligious practice. Therefore, they decided to follow in the footsteps of their elder brother.
Yeah. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that sometimes the retired people are confused. Kya karna hai? Prabhupada writes, this is the, sometimes retired men are bewildered about how to manage themselves. So here is the decision by authorities like the Pandavas. All of them engage themselves in favorably culturing the devotional service to the Lord Krishna. Text 46. Jnatvatyatikamatmanah manasadharayamasa survaikuntha charanambujam. Yes?
They all had performed all the principles of religion and as a result rightly decided that the lotus feet of the Lord Sri Krishna are the supreme goal of all. Therefore they meditated upon his feet without interruption.
Yeah. Next, 47. Tadhyanodriktaya bhaktya vishuddhadhishana pare tasminnarayana-pade ekanta manatayo gatim avapurduravapamte asadbhir vishayatmabhihi vidhuta kalmasha sthanam virajenatmanaivahi.
Translation. Thus, by pure consciousness, due to constant devotional remembrance, they attended the spiritual sky, which is ruled over by Supreme Narayan, Lord Krishna. This is attended only by those who meditate on the one Supreme Lord without deviation. This abode of Lord Sri Krishna, known as Golok Vrindavan, cannot be attended by persons who are absorbed in the material conception of life. But the Pandavas, being completely washed of all material contamination, attended that abode in their very same bodies.
Text 49. Viduropi parityajya prabhase dehamatmanah krishnaveshena chittaha pitrubhi swakshayam vyayau.
Vidura, while on pilgrimage, left his body at Prabhas because he was absorbed in thoughts of Lord Krishna. He was received by the denizens of Pitruloka planet, where he returned to his original post.
Yeah, so Vidura had come from Yamlok, which is near Pitruloka. So who was Aryama was taken care of. So when Vidura went back there and then resumed his duty there. So here we see that Vidura also left this world and then went back to. So basically this whole thing is that everybody is going. First Krishna went, before that he took Yadavas, then Pandavas went, then so the Vidura also disappeared. One place it is mentioned that when Krishna was disappearing, when he was going back home, back to Godhead, no, it's like to his abode. So when he was going through, he closed his eyes. He was going. So the Acharya described that because he was passing through many planets, heavenly planets, this, that. So generally what happens is, some big man is going like that, then many people they say, थोड़ा रुको, थोड़ा worship करते हैं, थोड़ा ये करो, वो करो, थोड़ा यहाँ पे पैर लगाओ आपका. So like that. So generally that social obligations they come. Like one brahmachari was telling that once householders they called him for house opening. So then he went there, did kirtan. He said that Prabhuji थोड़ा सा आपका चरण कमल सब जगह लगाओ. तो वो सब रूम में लेके गए उनको, यहाँ पे भी पैर रखो, यहाँ पे पैर रखो. तो बाद में वो बाथरूम में लेके बोले ये बाथरूम करो ताकि फिर बह जाएगा. So that is like too much social obligation. Like so Krishna just closed his eyes, it's like वो सब जाते रहेगा फिर unnecessarily, so he just went. Yeah, the description comes that it was like lightning. Huh? Huh. That is like Seva was there. No, he's one of the Mahajanas. He's already just like in Vaikuntha only. So it doesn't matter for him. Swarga, Narak, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता उनको. Like that. Text 50. द्रौपदी च तदाज्ञाय पतीनामपेक्षतां वासुदेवे भगवती एकान्तमतिराप्तम्.
Draupadi also saw that her husbands, without caring for her, were leaving home. She knew well about Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, and the personality of Godhead. Both she and Subhadra became absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna and attained the same results as their husbands.
Yeah, so this is very important purport.
One cannot take care of other planes. Everyone has to take care of his own plane. And if there is any danger, no other plane can help another in that condition. Similarly, at the end of life, when one has to go home, back to Godhead, everyone has to take care of himself without help rendered by another. The help is, however, offered on the ground before flying in space. Similarly, the spiritual master, the father, the mother, the relatives, the husband, and other can also render help during one's lifetime. But while crossing the sea, one has to take care of himself and utilize the instructions formerly received.
Yeah, so this is one very special purport, important purport Prabhupada writes. When flying in an airplane, one cannot take care of other planes. Everyone has to take care of his own plane. So, so there are these two understandings. One, when we are doing devotional service, it should be done in association, taking help of them, giving some service or help to others. That's how we perform devotional service. But this is when the time comes, then we have to fly our own plane. Understand? For example, when you are studying for Bhakti Shastri, there can be discussion. But when the exam is there, then no discussion. Then it's like exam. So similarly, exam is when you are about to go back home, back to Godhead, to practice Krishna consciousness and then not careful about that final exam. Because even after practicing, if you are not careful, you may not pass that final exam. Why? Because I was hearing one Bhagavatam class in Mayapur. So one proper disciple, very nice preacher. He has very nice centers in many places in America. So he was giving Bhagavatam, and then I think he was giving class to devotees only. So I beg pardon from all of you because we are going little out of time. Now it is already 10 minutes past. 5 minutes will end. Is that okay? Okay. Okay for ending. So yeah, so he was telling that he was in Mayapur. Like he is like very nice devotee, preacher, proper disciple. One day he had gone to and then he said that somehow he got caught in that whirlpool. And then he went inside. When he went inside, he understood that now, yeah, because he could see that now he has no power to come out of that, and so he tried to shout also, but afterwards he was telling that when he was dying there in Sridham Mayapur in Ganga, he said when he was down underwater, what things were coming in his mind. He said, I was remembering a advertisement of a bubble gum, chingam, which he had heard when he was in 10th class. So that advertisement he was coming to his mind. So then he was telling that we should not take things cheaply. That अभी तो ये हो रहा है, 16 माला कर रहा हूँ मैं, प्रसाद भी हो रहा है, and then ऐसी भगवत चले जाएंगे. So he was telling that don't take it lightly, don't take it, हो जाएगा, प्रभुपाद है, चैतन्य महाप्रभु मर्सी is there, then क्या डरने का, anything can happen. Yeah. So that's how it says that we take care of our own plane when we are on the last thing. How to run that plane, fly that plane, that can be on the ground, somebody can help you. ऐसे करने का, वैसे करने का. But once you have to sit inside, then you are like alone there. If something happens there, then our training, our attitude, our consciousness, that's what is going to take us to our next destination. So that's how this purport should not be taken creation and guidance. No. The devotees association and guidance is very important to make ourselves appear for that exam, which that exam has to be appeared alone only. Because when we are going to die, devotees can be there around, chanting, वगैरह, but then they can't enter into your consciousness and do something. That consciousness is my consciousness only. That is something very personal, like that. So if we are not cultivating that Krishna consciousness and just feeling that, okay, I'm just with devotees, that will not help. So that's why there are two successes. Now ISKCON is growing, so many temples are opening, and somebody says, now one more temple opened, Hari Bol, and we also feel happy. And then we feel now that how ISKCON is spreading. So we are making advancement. We should not think that because ISKCON is spreading, I am also advancing. So there are two different things. Everybody is advancing, but I may not advance. So we should understand that there are some things you have to work on personally. So the institutional success may not be always individual success. So institutional will grow, institutional will flourish, institutional, but that doesn't mean that that cannot be substituted for for your personal growth. So you have to grow yourself. You have to deal with your anarthas. You have to acquire the good qualities. You have to be humble. You have to be following the parampara, properly preaching. That is our own thing. So just being with some nice devotees, we should not imagine that I am also good. So that should not be there. So that both things have to be separately seen. That when institution is growing, institution is becoming better, not necessarily individually also I am becoming better. So that's what Prabhupada says here, that we have to fly our own airplane. So we should learn to do that. Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is this only, we should be mature, not go to an extreme. That's how the Christians, that's how they are divided into Protestant and Catholic. Catholic were before hardcore. They say, just have faith in Jesus. Don't worry. Just have faith in Him. Do all nonsense. No problem. Just have faith in Him. He will take you. But the people say, what is this? Having faith in Him and He'll take you. You do anything, whatever. ऐसे नहीं चलेगा. So they say, नहीं. Just have faith in. This means this only. You don't have faith in Jesus? Then they said, Protestant. Another line. They said, it's not sufficient just to have faith. You have to do also something good. So then they have a separate thing only. They have a lot of fights. So, even in Sri Vaishnava also they have two groups, left and right. Some say that just have faith in Krishna, Krishna will take you. Some say, aisa nahi hota hai. And that's how these two have come. Are we like a monkey child or cat child? Some say that कुछ मत करो, कैट आके आपको पकड़ लेगा, आप कुछ नहीं करने का, सो जाने का, वो आके आपको ले लेगी. दूसरे बोलते नहीं ऐसा नहीं है, वो मंकी के जैसा है, नहीं पकड़ा तो मर जाएगा, एटलीस्ट उतना तो करो. So then what is right? Acharya is right that both are extremes. We have to be in between. We have to be trained to be like a monkey and pray so that Krishna will take care of us like a cat. Both things are needed. And then one devotee was giving example that somebody is in the well and then he is told, you come, I will send you the bucket. So now at least he has to sit in that bucket. That much endeavor he has to do and catch the rope. Now just by catching the rope he is not coming out. Who is taking him out? The person on top only. But then if he doesn't catch, then he will not be able to come. So he needs to do some qualify himself so that he can be picked up by the. So it is fully that person's mercy only that he is taking him out. But then you can't just say that I'll not catch the rope also, I'll just sit in one corner. That person should come here, pick me up, put in the bucket and then go. So that is too, what you can say, lazy, sentimental person. So we should be both. So that's how Prabhupada is telling here that one has to fly one's own plane. like that. So we'll go to the last verse, text 51. Ya shraddhayai tad bhagavat priyanam pando sutanam iti samprayanam Shunyotyalam swasthanayan pavitram labdhva haro bhaktimupaiti siddhim.
The subject of the departure of the sons of Pandu for the ultimate goal of life, back to Godhead, is fully auspicious and perfectly pure. Therefore, anyone who hears this narration with devotional faith, certainly gains the devotional service of the Lord, the highest perfection of life.
Haribo. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So any announcements? Tomorrow 11. Kyun late? Yeah. So, huh? नो क्या है, एक टाइम रखो तो हो जाएगा वो। अभी आज दिन है ना, आज पूरा जो करना है करो। हाँ 11 o'clock. That you ask him. Okay, so Hare Krishna. So we are very thankful to Gokuleshwar Prabhu that he very nicely made it very relevant drama and then many other things like that. Yeah, activities are planned. So he had got some gifts also. So he said maybe next time I'll give the gifts. So, okay. So we are very thankful to him. And next time, date? 18 to 22 September. Haribo. September is festival is na? Janmashtami. 7th. उसके बाद वो पूरा हाँ कमलोचन प्रभु ना, कमलोचन प्रभु हाँ 18th September 18th वो हाँ ठीक है। और we thank to our Radha Ras Bihari Prem Prabhu for prasadam. Haribo. Thank you for tolerating. Hare Krishna. अब अपने हस्तकमल से